Okay. Okay, so here in this one, the design brief, what's happening here is that students will imagine a client company who is interested in this innovation. And then what is the problem that they are suffering, and a design statement. And then they should also come up with some design criteria. And again, things like cost, reliability, weight, whatever this company states that their criteria are. And then what are the constraints of this design? Once they, and then again, there's a whole bunch of guiding questions that are there for, for them to think about whatever they need to type up here. And again, all this is based on the team discussing, building, and so discussing and so on, and then coming up with answers about this. Concepts. Now what's happening, once they come up with an idea how to solve that company's problem, then they have these sticky notes here that, and the team needs to decide who is choosing which sticky note, which color, and then they come up and they type up different solutions that they think that they should come up with to solve that company's problem. Once they do that, then they will have, they can use this table to type in their ideas and to kind of compare them to each other and see in terms of cost, in terms of complexity, development time, and maybe provide some total score of, for which idea is probably the best one for this client. Moving on, this is where whatever the idea is, they will have to come up with some research, and they will decide what is it that they need to create here or research here or type up here that's going to help up in developing their product. Finally, once they research all the different aspects, and again, each student will assume one specific aspect of whatever they are working on. Like I said before, it could be that somebody is working on the graphic design of something, another person is working on the way that innovation works, and the third person works on the structure of that innovation. So each of them will come up with their own ideas and whatever they need to research about. Solutions. This is where they already have ideas. They have some design ideas. And again, we are not trying to be a design company or design software. So in this case, if they are really designing a product, then they need to go to one or either a drawing software, or they need to go to a CAD program or something like that and really physically design the product and then import their design images to the workspace. Now, there's also a good idea to describe it using, like I said before, using a component. And the reason that it makes it so much more clear of what exactly they are, they are doing. In fact, I think that this should be done even before they go on and use the CAD or the drawing program. And because this gives them some clarity about what they are looking for. And once they go to actually design it, they have a better idea that their product should be, should have 4 corners or yellow or whatever it looks like, and whatever they are deciding they should do and should be look like, they should probably use this component tool, which makes it so clear what they are planning to do. And here, they should also think about things like what material is going to be done from, the size, the shape, the assembly, and so on. They can even assign one person to be the person in charge of investigating about materials. And, I mean, it all depends on the innovation that they are working on. This is where they move on to building the prototype. And again, building the prototype requires a lot, again, a lot of research, materials. Like I said, somebody can be in charge of materials and what type of materials are best for this prototype. And then once they know how the materials and they know how they're going to build it, probably this event tool will help them a lot. Now let's go for a minute. Of course, many innovations, the students are actually building something. So they are building physically something. And I know that many times schools just, okay, you should just build it and that's it and that's over. And really you don't need to kind of report on what you did and how you did it. But I think that it is so important to actually not just build it, but also report on every step. And the reason is that, when they go to the testing phase or something like that, they see exactly what they did and they see where in this process something failed or they need to fix something or improve on it. This gives them a good picture of what happened, what they did, and how they did it, and they can even take, like I said, they should take images of every step. Right now, all we allow here is images, but we are also working on adding here video. So if you need to, for each step to add a video, that will be available soon. But in case that you decide that that's not the way to do it, you can do another way. This is an alternative way of doing it. And in this case, students will capture either an image or a video. And they can then connect it with the relationship tool and show exactly each step this way. So this is a more visual display of what they're building. So all these options are available. Let's move on here. And here is the part of if this is something that the students are going to program, are going to use some programming, they can use our relationship tool to show the logical flow of information. And they can even upload some images of the programming that they decided on, and then use the annotation tool to explain what exactly they decided to do in each of these. And this is where the testing will start. So testing, again, like I said before, using the event tool can help a lot. When they are testing, they can record, they can take images of the testing and they can record each step and type it up and show what they have done. That is very helpful. And they will date it. So they will put here dates. So on this date, I did this test, but on the other date, I did an improved test and so on. This is very helpful to see progression of how things improve, and finally they get to the into the final product. If they want to, a prototype success measure. So here, if the success category, whatever it is, and then they can say whether this was poor, good, excellent, or total, and evaluate. And in this case, this is where they will provide critique about their product. Like I said, there are several ways to create critique. One of them is to use the sticky notes. And another way is to just use the analysis tiles. You can just, create one that's called feedback. And then type up what they think. That's another way. And then here is another feedback for something. And then they can also display here a visual display of what they are building, and then use the annotation tool to show what they think needs to be fixed. So this is very powerful in that sense, because once they have something that they can put an image of their final product, they can then critique it by using the annotation tool and putting on top of the parts, putting an annotation that shows this is what needs to be done. Again, I'm reminding you that in an annotation, you can also add an image or a video. So, it can be, these annotations in a on a visual display like that can be very powerful. And then this is where they will actually present their work. So this is the whole engineering design process template that follows the rules of Project Lead the Way. Now let me go and go back to more things that you need to think about. Many projects, when students are working on a type B project, make sure that they divide the work among themselves. And I mentioned that. So if you have, for example, if you are working on a project and this is something that they all have to do because there's no specific role here, then make sure that they know that Joe is going to do this and Jane is going to do this and so on. So make sure they divide the work so they don't step on each other's work. And in both types of project, it's a good idea to assign a team leader that will be responsible for the completion of the task on time and that everybody follows the norms and the rules. And in addition to that, I also recommend that you rotate leadership roles. That's very important because a leader can look and see, look in the task and see what's going on and whether people are completing and finishing their job in time. Make sure that students are checking off tasks when they have completed them, and make sure that they also finish. They also, once they finish the entire project, and let me go there, then they will switch the project status to finished. That will help you a lot. And when you start grading the project, then it's a good idea to help you is to switch it to graded, because then you know that you don't have to go back to that project again. And, you know, and just not being sure that you graded it or not. When the project is finished, encourage students to go over their contribution and make sure that it looks aesthetic. And what that means is, you know, I've seen a lot of projects where students are just, you know, it's a mess. Every workspace is a mess. It's okay to have workspaces where you just, you know, you just put all kinds of things while you are investigating. But in the end, try to remove those or maybe put them aside and say that this is my work area, and basically make a representable project. And what that means, and let me just show you like a finished project that looks good, and is that once they have it, they can also present it to the class. So students can be here and then move on to the presentation mode and then present it and then talk about what they did and present it to the class. Presentations can be done by each student. So if there are expertise, if you assigned roles and there are expertise, then each expert will come and talk about their own contribution. Or if the team decides that they are going to present it to, that one person will present everything, that's fine too. And so here in this presentation mode, the students can talk about it and can move on from face to face and display. It looks good, and you know it also is covering everything, but it also looks good and so on. So make sure that whatever they are creating before they are turning it to a finished project, that they really that it looks good to present. And then I think that I covered all this. And they can also record their presentation. So they can, in the end, they can just record the presentation and capture and create a video and put the video in the last tab. So basically, these are the project management principles that I think that you should focus on. And let me just go back to the project here. And like I said before, because we did not record this, it's very important that students, that you maybe you create some top level tasks if you decide that that's what you want to do, or if you want to completely delegate the task making to students, that's okay too. They can create their own tasks. And then once you created those top level tasks, they can then come in and do their own refined tasks. Also, it's a good idea. I'm repeating again what I said before because we did not record this. It's also a good idea to name, when you name the task, to put there somewhere in the title, to put the name of the tab that this task was assigned for. And once students are finished with tasks, they should check mark them like this, that it's finished. What else? If there are clear roles, there is no problem. Usually students know what they need to do, and they are going on their own investigative venture and find out whatever they need to find out. And in the end, they get together and they start discussing each of their contributions, and they try to put it together as one product that they will then present. So, but if the roles are not so clear, and if they actually need to move on from step to step, together, then it's a different story. Then they actually need to allocate objects to a student, or kind of make a task and say, oh, Joe is going to work on understanding force, while Jane is going to understand motion. And then once we get together, we will we'll discuss this. The other thing that is important is that once assignments are finished by each student, then the other students need to review and go over it. Presenting it, for example, in a component is very powerful because students can see those short sentences and they can understand what's going on, and they can weigh in, they can provide their own suggestions and even add to it. So that's very important, because in the end, don't forget that they need to produce one product. So they need to understand each other's roles. Even if the roles are divided and each of them is focused on their own thing, in the end, they need to understand each other's roles because they need to produce one final product. So that's more or less. I'm going to now open it up for your questions or anything that I can focus on that I did not cover. And otherwise, I will take this file and share it with you. And any questions, guys?
Well, yeah, Mr. Gibbs or Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, this looks like a lot like your virtual research journal. You could just migrate a lot of that to this if you wanted to. But I also like how you could adapt Mr. Gibbs when they build things. They could do that final built product and all the steps along the way.
Yeah.
Did y'all have any questions?
No, I don't.
No, I appreciate you sharing all this with us, though.
Is this helpful? Is the project management thing helpful?
I can see where I can utilize it in my classroom. I can.
Okay.
As another tool to, to make sure students are doing what they're supposed to do and make sure that they're following the guidelines, I guess, more or less. But yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. Yeah, because
I think this one gave a context, like to see how maybe different projects might really fit into this. Okay.
Like I said before, this is very, it's very helpful in knowing ahead of time what the students need to do. And they know it. Once they know it, there is no frustration. Once you have the roles, the tasks, whatever they need to do, there's no frustration. Everybody knows what they need to do, and they feel like they are working towards a common goal. And each of them is a very important part of it. So that's what I said, that project management can make or break your project in that sense. So it can make it into a very successful project, or if there's no planning, let me just give you one more thing here before I leave. The George Lucas Foundation just published this article that said that project-based learning improves student performance significantly according to breakthrough research. And this came out just on February 22nd. And one of the things that they mentioned here is that I'm sure that you're familiar with Linda Darling-Hammond from Stanford University. And what she said in her comment about this, she said that, one second, let me read it. She said, these results demonstrate that well-designed experiences, so I'm just focusing on the well-designed. Any project-based learning needs to be designed and well-designed first. And like I said, that's the project management part. That's the part that you need to first assign the roles, make sure that everybody has their own task, they know what they need to do. And if you are doing those things, if you're designing it well, this can be the result. This is the result. The result is that their performance is going to be much better. On the other hand, if there is no planning and there is no project management, it can be something that everybody is frustrated about, and nobody knows what to do, and the learning gain is not going to be significant. So just an ending note for this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna share with you, let me just share with you that file. Let me go to the chat here and upload that file. Oh, has to be in my Google Drive. One second, let me see. Okay, one second. Let me just find it on my Google Drive here. Okay. I know where to find it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Google Drive and huh. Why can't I see everything here? Okay, you know what, Matt? I'm going to send it to you via email. I don't know why it's. I'm
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
send it to you via email, and then you can send it to the teachers.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do that.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Thank you for your time, Urim. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and enjoy using Project Pulse.
We will.
And
Thank you.
let me know if you have any problems. I'm here for help.
I will. And we will.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.